Bored of hearing news about a new skyscraper being built? Well, how about a skyscraper being built, but this time, instead of typically being in the heart of a metropolis, it's on the open seas. In today's episode, we'll take a look at the world's largest cruise ship being built. That's right, a cruise ship, but not just your ordinary one. It's the icon of the seas. A 365-meter long, 2,800-room, 250,000-ton behemoth with 22 elevators. It's a colossal structure that doesn't just stand on land, it actually floats. And it's not your typical New York skyscraper, it's the largest cruise ship in the world. Forget about those futuristic floating cities you've heard of in Korea or Malta. This one is real and causing a sensation on the internet right now. Although, I can't help but wonder, where do they have space for lifeboats? Does anyone else find this incredibly scary? Building a structure on land is complicated enough, but try doing it on water. This ship boasts 40 restaurants, a water park, 8 unique neighborhoods, and even its own central park for guests to enjoy. At this immense scale, it's almost as impressive as a skyscraper. The only difference is that it sails around the world with nearly 10,000 passengers on board. This is how they constructed the world's largest cruise ship. The icon of the seas dwarfs the Titanic by 5 times and stands 35 meters taller than the Eiffel Tower. Put it in perspective, imagine taking a Chrysler building, laying it sideways, and placing it in the ocean. The ship would still be 46 meters longer. In 2024, the icon of the seas will surpass the current largest ship, the Wonder of the Seas, by an additional 3 meters and 2 decks when it sets sail. The construction took approximately 2.5 years and was carried out by Mayor Turku Shipyard, one of Europe's leading shipbuilders located in Turku, Finland. Before the extensive construction process began, the ship's design underwent testing in Royal Caribbean's Advanced Innovation Lab known as The Cave, a room-sized virtual reality simulator located in Miami. Within this lab, teams thoroughly examined renderings from various perspectives before reaching final design decisions, paving the way for construction in the Finnish shipyard. It all began with 2 enduring maritime customs: the steel cutting ceremony and the keel laying ceremony. These events occur within a dry dock, which is a narrow basin that can later be filled with water. During the steel cutting phase, the initial pieces of steel for the ship are precisely cut. Then, during the keel laying ceremony, the lower sections of the ship are actually placed into position. In the icon ceremony, a massive 3,000-ton crane was employed to hoist the colossal steel block into the dock. From there, the ship continued to rise, much like assembling a giant Lego set or playing a game of Tetris. Engineers constructed different parts of the ship, including the 2,800 staterooms, block by block at the separate location within the shipyard. Each component was then transported to the dock, carefully stacked, and welded into the final location, with the construction progressing from the ship's base upwards. Building the icon of the seas differs from constructing a skyscraper on land. In the case of skyscrapers, the process typically starts from the foundation and progresses upward, with vertical beams forming the building's core structure, followed by interior and exterior finishing touches. Skyscrapers usually feature substantial materials such as concrete, glass, and masonry on their exteriors. However, the icon of seas primarily consists of extra strong steel and curved sheet metal, which are considerably lighter materials in comparison. One of the notable challenges faced during the construction of the icon was the aquadome, a glass and steel structure that stands 25 meters tall and 50 meters wide, making it the largest of its kind on any cruise ship. Placing a heavy structure like the aquadome higher on the ship can significantly impact stability and the ship's overall center of gravity. Engineers conducted numerous tests during the design phase to ensure its feasibility. To construct it, 12 separate modules made of steel, glass, and aluminum were pieced together into one unit. The dome in total contains 673 glass panels. Once its rounded shape was confirmed, A specialized apparatus with nearly 500 meters of suspension cables was utilized to transport it to the front of the ship. The final few meters of this relocation took more than 6 hours to complete, and it was then permanently welded in place. Over the course of 8 months, the Icon continued to come together incrementally until it was ready to be shifted from the dry dock to an outfitting dock. Here, technicians installed items like furniture and finishings. To facilitate this, the dry dock was filled with water, with 5 tugboats towed the ship to another section of the shipyard. After a few more months of work, the ship underwent its initial round of sea trials, where every aspect from the engines to the steering system was tested in the water. The initial trials spanned several days and covered hundreds of kilometers, with another round of trials scheduled for later this year. Now, we can imagine what you're probably wondering. How on earth can a structure of this immense size actually stay afloat? And how does it function? After all, it's essentially a gigantic skyscraper floating on the sea. Well, it all boils down to the science of buoyancy, where an object can float if it displaces an amount of water equal to its own mass. The Icon, despite its size, is dwarfed by the vastness of the ocean, and the ample open space on board helps balance its weight. As we mentioned, the ship primarily utilizes extra strong steel rather than the heavy materials like concrete or masonry commonly found in skyscrapers. This combination of steel and the presence of air within the ship generates buoyancy, making it less dense than the water beneath it. Additionally, the ship's interior design incorporates features like thin layers of marble finishes that uses less material than they might appear to the eye, contributing to its overall lighter weight. However, it all comes down to a vital point of the Icon, which largely remains submerged: the hull. Typically, smaller boats have a V-shaped hull, which helps them achieve high speeds and navigate choppy waves but with less stability. On the other hand, cruise ships have U-shaped hulls that are wider and more rounded. This design helps distribute weight and water more effectively due to their larger size, and also allows for more onboard amenities. Although it may decrease speed slightly, it greatly enhances stability, preventing passengers from experiencing seasickness on an unsteady ship. Similar considerations come into play when designing the course of skyscrapers. Tall buildings like the Burj Khalifa and Jeddah Tower incorporated a Y-shaped, 3-walled core to bolster stability against wind forces, rather than relying on traditional 4 walls. Now, you might be curious about how they generate power for nearly 10,000 people in the middle of the ocean, since this structure can connect to external electric grids. The Icon relies on 6 multi-fuel engines, unlike other Royal Caribbean ships that uses diesel power. Instead, the Icon utilizes liquefied natural gas for propulsion. While in port, the ship conserves energy by plugging into local power grids, eliminating the need to keep the engines running and burning excess fuel. Now that we've covered some of the basic science, you might be wondering just how large a cruise ship can actually become. Is there such a thing as being too big? After all, some have already criticized the Icon as an enormous structure. Despite this, it's still setting records for pre-bookings, indicating a clear demand for these massive seagoing structures. However, even if engineers continue to overcome the challenges of constructing larger ships at sea, not all ports can accommodate mega-sized vessels due to limitations in capacity, environmental concerns like pollution, and issues related to over-tourism. So, while we've seen skyscrapers reach for the sky, the size of ports may set a limit on the future growth of cruise ships. As we push the boundaries of engineering on land, the future of cruise ship construction may not expand as far into the water as we might think. Before we embark on building the world's next largest cruise ship, the construction sector may need to prioritize the development of larger ports. And that concludes today's video of building the world's largest cruise ship. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more videos to come. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.